Hello, good day everyone. This is Madam Trisha Inventor, and right now, um, I will be I will just give you a short discussion about our Module 1, the book na jud of the 21st century literature. So, this we are now in Module 1, Poetry, the Filipino poem. So, again, I apologize for the delay of the books. We cannot blame anyone because we are in this kind of situation, so everything is in delay. So, but don't worry, we will give it to you as soon as it arrives sa PJC. Okay? So right now, we'll just find a way for you to still learn because learning must be continued. So anyways, here is the module 1 of your 21st century literature book. So we will first touch the module 1 of it. Please do not yet answer the next modules. Just follow my instructions that I sent you in the group chat. So we will just touch module 1. So starting off with the pre-assessment. So before anything else, answer first the pre-assessment because that's why it's called pre-assessment, because before the discussion, you need to answer this. So here it is. Just encircle the letter of the best let's say definition of each word in this pre-assessment part. Again, encircle the letter. Okay, that's it. It's all about image, allusion, figurative language, meter, and rhyme. So next, we have here the reading 1, a long history of poetry. So here in my PowerPoint presentation, this is just, everything is just short, meaning I summarized what was written there in the book. Kanang naa sa book, kumbaga murag gi-summarize na sad na sa author sa book, but this in my PowerPoint mas gi-summarize pa jud nako. So para paspas or mas dali ninyo siguro masabtan for some learners. Okay, so reading 1, a long history of poetry. So as you all know, Filipinos are very much engaged with literature, with poetry ever since sa una pa. So we have here the pre-Hispanic forms of poetry. First, we have the awit or songs, then the bugtong or riddle, then sawikain or salawikain or the proverbs, and then the epico or epic. So I think I have already discussed this in the first ever module that I have given you in the 21st century literature. So I think naato siya dito, and then we will just review it here right now. So awit or songs are used for varied purposes before. So some, when we say varied purposes, nagkalain-lain nga mga purpose gigamit ang song. So daghan kaayo biya tag mga awit or mga songs. Sa una, you have there the harana, in which kanang manguyab ang lalaki sa babayi. We also have the lullaby. Sabi, I'm not sure about the Tagalog of the lullaby, but you know, kantahan ng mga babies pag when the mother lets them sleep. And then what else? In planting or in harvesting, the farmers have songs about harvest, na asay songs during when someone is namatay. So you know, it has a lot of purpose. Even up to now, daghan man sad og gamit ato ang mga songs, daghan siya og purpose. So we also have bugtong or riddle. So you also answered an activity during the first module of 21st about riddles. So it's about it uses metaphor to convey answers, katong na siya mga answers. And then sawikain, these are proverbs, expresses pieces of wisdom. Usually we have this in the Bible. So before, the teachings of Jesus Christ are in Proverbs for the Catholics. Next, we have epico or epic. These are the long episodic chanted poems. Usually, it's about heroes and their adventures, just like the Hinilawod story that we have discussed before. So that's it. Next, we have the poems during the Spanish period. So we have a lot of poems, a lot of literature before, during the Spanish American period. But these are just three of them. Three of the very many poems. We have Passion, and then we have Florante at Laura, and then Pag-ibig sa Tinubuang Bayan. So there in the book, it was stated there, the writers, kung kasi mga nagsulat sa Passion, sa Florante at Laura, and then the Pag-ibig sa Tinubuang Bayan. So just read the authors of this. I think Pag-ibig sa Tinubuang Bayan by Andres Bonifacio, and then Florante at Laura by Balagtas, and then Passion, it was popularized by Gaspar de Belen, and then just perpetrated, or meaning kanang mas gipauso and gipa-improve pa ni Mariano Pilapil. So that's it. And then of course the Passion. Oh yeah, that's the Passion. And the next one, we have here the writers during the American period. So as you all know, we were colonized by both Spanish and then the Americans. So here we have Angela Manalang and Jose Garcia Villa. Okay, they established conventions in form and content. So sila tong murag naka-establish og mga nindot nga mga forms sa poems, 'di ba? We also have its content, ang unod, ang message sa poem. So because of them, we have been more, poems are more beautiful because of them. So according there in the book, during the arrival of the Spaniards, mas ilahang gilesen ang mga parehas aning epic about heroes and their adventures, di ba? Mura siya myths, mga dili katuuhan, kaya di ba na sila mga powers, mga supernatural powers. So pag-abot sa moto'y sikat sa una sa mga Filipinos. But now, pag-abot sa Spaniards, mas gilesen nila, or mas gilesen nila ang mga stories about supernaturals, because it's not realistic. So mas murag pag-abot sa Spaniards, mas naging religious ang mga poems, mga literature, sa mga literary pieces. One of the example is the Passion. So the Passion is about the passion of Jesus Christ. So 'di ba, mas naging religious pa ang mga works before. Naging mas realistic. And then here, during the American period, pag-abot sa mga Americans, we were more influenced using the English language, because again, Americans are English people. So because of them, sa ilang pag-abot, na-adapt man nato ang mga English language. So during that time, ang mga poems or literary pieces nga nahimo atong panahon na until now were very much influenced by English language, 'di ba? Usually mas halos tanang instructions, tanang basahon nato sa libro, whether it's math or English or science, the instructions are in English. And that is because of the influence of the Americans. So antod karon nadala gihapon nato siya. So in here we have, yes, again, Angela and Jose, they established form and content. So tungod nila mas naging beautiful, more beautiful pa atong poems. And then we have Salvador Lopez, develop new themes beyond the usual popular themes. So mas daghan siyag mga na-inject and mas daghan pa siyag mga na, let's say, mga nahimo nga themes beyond the usual themes na ginagamit sa una. Mas iya pang gidungagan, mas gidevelop pa niya. So that's it for the American period. And then now we are on region 2. Reading 2. Sorry, regions and regional culture. So, you have there, you can read your book. I mean, the picture that I sent you there. But if you want more reference, just look at this video. So here in first, we are talking about Manila as the center of the country. So why is it called the center? Because it is the capital of the Philippines, diba? Tanang businesses, tanang sikat nga mga businesses nagikan gyud siya sa Manila. Pag mag-order to sa mga Shopee, sa Lazada, sa online shopping apps, usually halos kadaghanan sa mga sellers gikan sa Manila. O di ba mas baga siya gid ang center sa Pilipinas. Na dito ang mga sikat nga mga lugar. Though not all tourist spots are there, but dito ga puyo usually ang mga artista, mga politicians na sikat, no? It's in Manila. Everything is in Manila. The most popular place in the Philippines is Manila because it's our capital. It's the center. Okay, next we have here Bienvenido Lumbera. He was the one who described Manila as the center of the country. So, Bienvenido, by the way, Bienvenido is a national artist for literature. So, forte jud niya ang literature. So, Manila is definitely while Manila is still definitely the center of the country, it cannot be denied that the larger territory of the country lies outside the center, in the periphery. When we say periphery, the edges of that circle, the edges of a circle or the edges of a center, as it were, of national consciousness. So, meaning, ang gibuot pasabot ni Bienvenido Lumbera is that although Manila is the center of the Philippines, but there are still more beautiful places outside Manila, outside the center of the Philippines. So, diba, as you all know, we have Palawan, we have Boracay, we have Mayon Volcano, we have Dao Islands, o diba? We have the Turtle Islands in Pitogo. Kana sila nga mga lugar, it's outside Manila. It's not in Manila. So, diba? Daghan kaayog mga beautiful places, beautiful creatures beyond Manila. So, it's outside the center. So that's what Bienvenido is trying to imply, which is very much correct. So here we have reading 3, Bikol literature. So as you all know, Bikol, it's not in Manila. It's outside Manila. So we are now going to talk outside Manila, which is Bikol. So it's a place somewhere in Luzon. So, Bicol is not just a place, it also has literature in there. So, we have the screenwriters, Ricky Lee, and screenwriter, without the S. Screenwriter Ricky Lee and poet Marne Quilates. They are multilingual Bicolano writers. Meaning, multilingual, they know many languages like English, they know Filipino, they also know Bicolano. Yes. Bicolano language. So, daghan silang nahibaw-an nga mga languages. So, sila sa ilahang pagkasikat, no, ilahang works, some of their works are in Filipino, some are in English, 'di ba? Some writers there in Bicol. Dili gid siya nakasulat in Bicol. Though na ay mga works nga in Bicolano, but it is translated. It will later on be translated to Filipino, baka or to English, because not all people can understand Bicolano. So mao na siya, though nasikat sila, pero wala ni sikat og appeal ang ilang Bicolano language, because not all people can understand Bicolano language. Then Bicolano literatures, the famous Bicolano literatures are An Matakot sa Doron, Daing Aanihon, and Those Afraid of Locusts Will Not Harvest Anything. So these are the famous Bicolano literatures written by Bicolano writers. Other forms of entertainment in Bicol before are Comedia and the Zarzuela in 1800s and in the 1900s. Okay, so when we say comedia, it's a play that is comedic in nature, meaning funny, tawanan, kanang makalingaw. Another is the zarzuela. Kaning zarzuela, the difference is it's a Spanish. It is adopted by the Filipinos from the Spanish people, the Spaniards. So it's also a musical comedy play. The difference is that ang zarzuela, it's musical. No, comedia is just a comedic play. So, mo ni sila other forms of entertainment aside from poems, aside from other forms of literature. We have comedia and zarzuela. And one more, we have Bicol-based productions of poems and fictions. So, though kining Bicol-based production sa una, medyo na naman dyan ang ubang butang usahay sikat, later on it will mahina ang mga benta, kumbaga mahina na ilang productions, pero wala ra gihapon sila nag-stop. It's still continuing, though it's not as famous as it was before. So that is Bicol-based reading 3. Now we talk about the Mayon volcano in reading 4. So since elementary patano, we are already educated what is Mayon volcano, unsay naa siya, asa siya na-locate. So I think you already know about this. So that's it. This is Mayon volcano. It's a nearly perfect shaped, cone-shaped, nearly perfect cone-shaped a volcano, one of the most active volcanoes. I think natin recently lang ning erupt na sad siya. So it's still active. It's erupting once in a while. One of the most popular tourist destinations in the Philippines. Kini Mayon volcano. Outside Manila siya, di ba? So it's still famous. And then we have here the legend of Daragang Magayon, a romantic and exciting legend that tells how the volcano came to be. So kani sila mga legend, mga gisulat sa mga writers na nila before, no, mga legends, meaning mga myths kung giunsa pagka create ning volcano kaning Mayon volcano. So that's it. And then you have here the Mayon poem, okay, by Christian Sendon Cordero. So I want you to read that and understand that. Anyway, it's not the words are not deep to you. It's easily understood when you try to read that. And then here below, we have here an activity. So I told you already that you're going to answer this part. Respond critically to the following questions to process the selection. So, you are to answer the questions 1 to 6. Of course, you are going to answer that in a complete sentence, okay? Do not give me just the answer, the word. No, I want it in a complete sentence. Just a brief sentence, just a short one. I'm not asking for a very, very, very long answer. Just a short one. I just want to hear your response about the poem. So we have there, what images are found in the poem? Give 3. Cite the lines where they appear. So dapat ha, complete sentence, kompleto sa dang answers, because again pareho sa ani daghan siya, isa ra siya ka question pero daghan siya gipangayo nga answers. So next, state the dominant physical sense being used by the poem to create the images you listed in the previous questions, blah 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 blah. So it's the answers can be found lang yun in the poem Mayon. So just analyze, just understand the poem. So it's written by Cordero, a native of Bikol. So he was born and raised in Bikol, and then in the poem he poetically describes the beauty of Mayon, described how the Mayon was made. No, na siya mga stories dito kung giunsa paghimo or giunsa pagkatukod sa Mayon. So just read that. And then it talks about natoy sa to dalaga which was namatay sa isang digmaan, mga ganyan. So he also talked about sementeryo nga dati daw ito ay isang malawak na sementeryo na may abo ng tao, blah blah blah. He talked about also about the lava which came out of the mountain, the volcano. Sumoto siya, and then in his poem he used allusion and imagery. Specifically, he hit the 5 senses. Okay, so muna siya imagery kanang mga words na ginagamit sa mga poets nga matouch bitaw ato ang 5 senses kanang maka-imagine tang halaing ani di ay siya, like also man atong 5 senses. We have the sight, the hearing, the taste, the touch, unsa pa isa, the smell. Okay, so diba daghan. I will give you an example here in this line. Tinitigan ko ang nakangangang bulkan, binabalot ng ulap at ng sariling usok ang tutok, gatas sa labi. Baka sakali magpakita ng may silbi ang camera. So here, he was able to touch our sense of sight. No, naka-imagine ta nga, hala og naa day ta dito sa Mayon volcano, ingani atong makita kanang ang bulkan, binabalutan siya ng ulap or ng clouds. So that's imagery. Example of an imagery. And then now we talk about the poet. So, ito siya. This is Christian Sendon Cordero. He was called by who was that poet? Marne Quilates. He was called by Marne Quilates as an enfant terrible of Bikol writing. So, there in your book, again, enfant terrible, it's association with the French poet Arthur. It refers to a person who is controversial. O diba? Controversial po si Christian. Daghan kay siya controversies before. So Christian ventured into independent publishing, meaning he was the one who published his work. Wala siya nagpa-publish sa isa ka company. He was the one who made the work. And then he intelligently participated in critical discourse in his region. He also won multiple Palanca Awards in poetry, fiction, and essay. won the NCCA's, or the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, prize for BIKOL poetry in 2007, and many, many more prizes and awards, which are stated there in your book. He is not just a poet, but he was also a filmmaker and an educator. So, nasa siya yung mga films nga gipangbuhat, which is all stated there in your book. I'll give you one. Angustia. So that was released in 2013. He is a teacher or an educator or a professor at Ateneo de Naga University. So aside from being a writer, he also teaches, and he is also a filmmaker. So that's it. And then we have here the reading 7, the BIKOL literature, a tradition in transition. Okay, so just like any other literatures in the world, or just like in our journey in life, diba? We pass through ups and downs. Dili man pwede that we always pass through ups or just pure happiness. No, dili man jud na siya, never man gid na hitabo sa tuwa. So we also pass through tough times, rough roads. No, diba? So just like that, BIKOL literature also, they have undergone they experienced criticisms about their literatures, but despite all that, they still managed to flourish over the years with the help of some talented writers coming from, or which are natives of Bicol. So one of them is Christian Cordero, the writer of Mayon. So siya gitong gipaglaban and then made a way for Bicol literature. So who paved the way for Bicol literature to be more known? Mas naging kilala po ang Bicol literature dahil sa kanya. Isa siya sa mga dahilan. And then, although translations have become a key part of the literature of Bicol, okay? Translations meaning katong gi-translate ang ubang works from Bicol into Tagalog or English. Though dako siya og natabang sa literature sa Bicol, Cordero still contends that this is the reason for its continued survival. So, although wala jud pod na sikat og apil ilahang language, but English or ang Filipino language ang ningtabang para mapadayon ang survival sa Bicol literature amidst of what has been seen as a thin literary production. So, kato siya sa una, Bicol literature, we see some people see Bicol literature as thin literary production, meaning dili kayo sikat in the literary field, diba? So hina ilhang production kumbaga, but despite that, surviving gihapon ang Bicol literature, and that is thanks to some of the writers in Bicol. Then we have reading 8, regional perspectives and practices. So here we talked about Christian Sendon Cordero, in which he presented in his poem both the positive and the negative representations of the volcano that showcases his own negative capability. Okay, so the volcano, as we can see in pictures, or kung kinsa tong mga nakaadto na sa volcano, nindot kayo siya lantawon. All we can see is the beauty, the positive side of the volcano, but not it just like any other things in the world. It's not all about the positive, it's not all about the negative. It's always the positive and the negative, so it's equal. So Christian Cordero stated that, he presented that in his poem, and then because of his poem, it gave us an experience of how Mayon volcano is from another perspective, diba? Daghan naman tag, like for example, when your classmate gikan siya nagmayon volcano, nakaadto na siya Mayon volcano, and then he described, "Hoy, gwapo kayong Mayon volcano. It's very nice. It's very refreshing there." So it's her or his or her perspective. And this one, the poem of Christian, is another perspective. So it's nice to experience Mayon from another perspective as well. Okay. So he also opened the eyes of every reader through giving his viewpoints held by writers of the region. So kanino si Christian Cordero medyo kanang honest and kanang palaban, kumbaga, 'di ba? He had the courage to share the positive and the negative sides of their place or the Bicol literature itself. Now, which was held or meaning gipugnan sa mga writers before, because maybe they were not ready for controversies, 'di ba? Si Christian Cordero is very brave to face controversies nga ginatapon sa iya. No, di laliman ka ta gitawag gud siya og enfant terrible, 'di ba? Kauban sa small but terrible. Okay, so that's it about the Bicol literature. And then for the last one that you are going to answer is the assessment part. So the A part, sayon na siya, no? Because it's multiple choice. You just have to read the poem. Okay? Just discover the poem. Discover it yourself. So again, circle the letter of the correct answer. Circle the letter. Larong instructions, ha? And then on the B part or the test 2, here you are going to critic. Sige, critic nato ang poem ni Cordero, the Mayon. Okay? Unsa man nag-critic, ani na lang, we will reflect. Give me a reflection of yours after reading the Mayon. No? Unsa may imong maingon about sa Mayon? Unsa may imong gustong iingon? Is it nice? Nindot ba iyahang poem? Ang poem, ha, dili ang Mayon volcano. Nindot ba ang iyahang poem? Maot ba? Ngano nakaingon kag maot, ngano nakaingon kag nindot. So that's it. You're going to critic the poem, focusing on how the images in the poem present the experience of Mount Mayon. So meaning you are to criticize, you are to critic. Now critic the images presented in the poem. Kung nindot ba pagkahimo ang ihang poem? Kung natouch ba gyud ang imuhang 5 senses? Kung pinaagi ba sa pagbasa? Mura na sad kaniya gidala sa Mount Mayon? Ingon ana ba ang effect sa imuha or dili? Ana. You are to critic the poem. Ingon ato siya pag-critic. So, I will just ask for 3 paragraphs only with 5 sentences in each paragraph. Again, I repeat, 5 sentences in each paragraphs. A total of 3 paragraphs for your critic. Okay? Okay. Alright, class. So that ends my slide. And that's just a short discussion of Module 1 of the 21st Century Literature book. So I hope that you learned a little bit, even a little bit from the slides. Anyway, daga na dira tanang information sa book or sa picture nga akong gisend sa inyo, ha. And then kani siya murag additional or summary na lang sa books just to clarify things, no? And about the book, don't worry, we will give it to you as soon as possible if maabot na siya. For now, we will just settle for this kind of setup. what's important is that you're still learning, okay? We must continue learning despite everything that is happening in our society. So that's all. I thank you for listening and watching. Welcome here in my YouTube channel. Okay, that's enough. So thank you and keep safe, everyone. Be safe and then continue learning, and God bless you all. Bye.